So it's widely leaked, widely speculated about, and now we know what Apple's got in store for us. They've revealed 3 new mobiles, including their much-anticipated and hyped iPhone X, the iPhone 10. It'll feature an edge-to-edge display, no home button, and it'll map your face to unlock it. Face recognition, but it is also the most expensive ever, starting at around £999, although it's being sold for the same price in dollars in the USA. At a glitzy launch, Apple chief exec Tim Cook revealed his hope for the gadget.
The first iPhone revolutionized a decade of technology. It is only fitting that we are here to reveal a product that will set the path for technology for the next decade.
But how's it going to fare? How's it going to stack up? And how's it going to be rated? Let's get the thoughts of Guy Cocker from Stuff magazine. Good morning, Guy.
Morning, Paul.
Were there any surprises here? We seem to learn so much about this in advance, and I don't think anybody was particularly astonished by it, were they?
No, I think that's the problem that Apple has now. There's so much feverish anticipation, partly on but journalists like myself are to blame for this, but there's so much feverish anticipation about the new iPhone that it all leaked ahead of time. So actually, Apple's notorious for hiring ex-government officials to try and keep on top of this secrecy stuff, but it still has people leaking stuff ahead of time. So we knew a lot about the phone, but as you said, I think the most surprising fact of it is that the new iPhone, so the headline iPhone, the iPhone 10 as they're calling it, is £999, so really bumping up against that £1,000 price point. And actually the 256 gigabyte version, the version that I will stupidly line up and buy when it's available at the end of October, is £1,149. So you're getting kind of really ridiculously expensive phones. Yeah.
And Guy, my understanding is even at the launch, the facial recognition bit of the phone, which I suppose is the most interesting bit, failed to work. Is it a bit sort of before its time? And are there concerns that it might not be a great safety and security element, given that it's very hard to hide your face from somebody? Other people were saying, if you were mugged and somebody demanded, they could just put the phone in front of your face and the phone would open.
Yeah, it's ideal in terms of the demo one of the Apple executives did. It didn't quite work as planned, so that was a little bit embarrassing for Apple. It claims that it's it's actually much more secure than Touch ID. So that's what Apple is claiming. But like you say, if you were mugged, it's not a foolproof device. It's still got some flaws in terms of security.
And how would it work? How would it work if somebody wore full face covering, like a burqa?
Yeah, exactly. It still needs access to your face. So what they've actually done is they've put something that they call machine learning, so that the phone is able to learn, say, if you're a man and you've grown a beard, it's able to learn that sort of stuff, but it still does need access to your face as the sort of way to unlock the phone. So
what's the argument to say that facial recognition is better than fingerprint recognition?
Well, they say that it's more secure, but what they had to do to sort of implement this on the iPhone 10, the headline feature is this edge-to-edge display. So what they've needed to do is remove the home button. And Apple, for all of its flaws, for the fact that it hasn't really innovated phone, it's sort of stolen ideas from elsewhere. What it does do is usually, and I will caveat this by saying I haven't actually gone hands-on with the iPhone 10 yet, sadly, is that it will do features like facial recognition better than anyone else. So me as a technology journalist, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt at this stage and say that they will have tested this facial recognition stuff and made sure that it works really effectively. And it is saying that the facial recognition technology is more secure than a fingerprint. But like you say, there are elements to it, like you say, if your face is covered up, that it's not going to work. And it's still not a perfect system in terms of, you could essentially, like you said, get mugged and they could access your phone using facial security. But in terms of the desirability of the phone, Apple still makes, in my opinion, there will be people that disagree with me on this, the most desirable sort of consumer electronics out there. And I think that there's plenty of stuff on this phone that is exciting. The edge-to-edge display looks absolutely stunning. There's wireless charging on there. Yes, Apple's competitors have been doing that for a while. But that OLED display is probably going to be better it's certainly better than my TV at home. So there is a lot of advanced technology on this new phone that does kind of go some way to justifying that high price tag.
And talking about the high price tag, of course, it's said that this new iPhone is going to could potentially add 6% to Apple's earnings. And I'm always uneasy whenever I cover a story like this. I call myself a journalist, you call yourself a journalist, and yet here we are we basically doing a PR puff for Apple, doing their job for them. It's difficult to say, is this a press release being talked about on the radio, or is this a genuine news story because there are so many millions of people who are genuinely interested in the new iPhone? Do you ever share my unease about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the job of a journalist now has now been sort of dictated by Apple so much that, they invite people over to San Francisco to check out this new phone. Obviously, it's a massive kind of puff piece for them. The actual journalism will come when the phone is released. So the iPhone 10 is going to be released at the beginning of November. Pre-orders will go live in October. The actual journalism will come in when that phone comes out, and journalists at Stuff, where I work, will decide whether the phone is any good or not. So I think that, the job of technology has changed so much over the last sort of 10 years or so, whereas once it was, when the first iPhone came out, it was essentially a very nerdy pursuit. And now technology, like the iPhone, does touch on people's lives every day, and it's probably the most important thing that people carry around with them.
Yeah, and it's the only thing, certainly, I don't know if you've got children, but it's the only thing my children would be interested in. If anything we were talking about today would be the new iPhone and what gadgets it's got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wrote a piece for Stuff Where I Work last night saying that I know it's ridiculous, like lusting after the new iPhone for £1,000. There are phones out there, like, let's take the OnePlus 5, for example, which just came out earlier this year, that does about 75% of what the new iPhone does for half the price. So there's some great phones that are coming out that are at the £500 price point that do mostly what the iPhone does for a much less price.
And also, I'm reading in the Guardian today, Guy, that Samsung aims to be the first company to have a foldable phone. Foldable. I suppose they're using some kind of graphene technology. Why would we want that?
Well, I guess actually, if you look down the line at the future of phones, in 10 years' time, it's unlikely that we'll be using phones in the format that they are now. So we're kind of bumping up. That's a problem that a lot of people are having with the new iPhone, is that it hasn't innovated enough. And in the current form factor, it's difficult to innovate. You're kind of bumping up against the limits of the technology. So what people like Samsung are doing, like you say, are creating foldable phones that will, essentially be able to be rolled up, might not even, need to be kind of carried around. You might be able to just wear them on your wrist, for example. It's going to be interesting to see where phones go. And eventually the idea is probably that there will be some sort of embeddable technology that you will just wear or, control with your mind further down the line.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're all just going to have barcodes and chips implanted into us, aren't we, before long?
Essentially, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Guy Cocker there from Stuff Magazine. It's true. The geek shall inherit the earth. It's 8:44.